Come to me, my little children. It is story time. Let us just entertain you with stories that come from way up, all the way down there. And I don't know what I'm saying. Hey guys, it's Erica from America, your favorite flight attendant. Welcome to another Q&A Sunday where you guys ask the questions on my Travel Tuesday videos, and I try to answer them the best that I can. And this week, you guys asked me about my favorite topic. Me. That's right. It's not my children. It's not my husband. It's all about me. Sorry, I can't resist that, guys. Anyway, I've had some interesting questions this week. People have asked me about the cooling sheet that I travel with, and how to book a seat for your pet. And then finally, a lot of questions about what are my craziest passenger experiences. So I have a lot of stories today. It's a lot of fun. I am just going to say, don't forget to hit the subscribe button because I'm going for 10,000 people. Sorry, I couldn't resist saying that. But let's just jump right into this with story time, guys. So I have two questions today that are fairly similar, and I'm going to answer them together. The first one is from Passport and Pause, and it says, my question is, how often do you get disorderly behavior that involves the cops? And the second question is, as for a question from my favorite flight attendant, see, subliminal messaging is working. How about, what is the craziest or funniest thing you've seen a passenger do or that a passenger has asked you to do? Okay, so we never actually had to involve the cops. There might have been one situation where we called TSA to come grab a passenger. And then there was another situation where I'm sure the cops got involved after, or maybe they did, but we were in the plane and we were on our way out. So I never saw what happened. The first one was this one time when I was on the 145 and I was the only flight attendant. This passenger was the last passenger on, and apparently he had been in the bar before he got on. But he seemed totally sober when he got on, and it kicked in midair, and we were really late. A lot of airlines, if you're late, the alcohol is free. Little airline secret you can ask about, like try that. But anyway, so we were late, and I had announced, because I'm a jerk, that it was a booze cruise and all the alcohol was free. And the guy that was the last one on the plane, he asked for a rosé, and I gave it to him. And he didn't even drink like the whole thing. He drank like barely half of it. Near the end of the flight, he was like, I have to use the restroom. And then he kept trying to go into my galley, which was at the front of the plane, instead of the bathroom, which was at the back of the plane. And I'd be like, no, turn around, go to the back, go to the back. And he'd just go back to his seat and sit down, and then he'd get up and come back up to my galley again. I was like, ah. So I kind of ratted him out when we landed. I told the gate agent, like, I think he's too drunk to take his next flight. I'm pretty sure I didn't have to do that even, because he had sat down at the gate, and I just pointed him out to the gate agent, and the gate agent went over, and she was like, do you know where your next flight is? And he was like, no, do you know where my next flight is? And she was like, TSA, come here, security. And I think they took him to a drunk tank, if there is one. I've never seen it, but supposedly there's like a drunk tank at the airports. And they took him somewhere where he could sober up, but he was not going anywhere that night. He stayed in Chicago that night. That one involved TSA. The other one that I think involved TSA was, it was Christmas Eve, probably my second or third Christmas Eve, and we were flying with this awesome captain. We hadn't met him yet. He was coming from another plane, and we were about 10 minutes late, but the gate agent had closed the manifest, so the other flight attendant and I were just hanging out in the plane, waiting for the pilot to show up. The captain finally comes running down the jet bridge, and this was at a time in Chicago when the flight crew were allowed to punch in their codes and go down the jet bridges without being checked in, which was only in Chicago. That wasn't happening at any of the other airports as far as I know, and they finally took that away from us, and now we have to have the gate agents check us in to go down the jet bridge. But basically, this captain scanned himself in and comes down, and he says to the gate agent who's in the plane with me and the flight attendant, hey, there's a family up there of 4. Go ahead and reopen the manifest and let them back on. And then he turns around, and they're standing at the door of the plane. They grabbed the door of the jet bridge and followed him down, and he immediately went, what are you doing? And like, he's shouting this, I told you to wait up there. And even though I couldn't see the guy and I was like several rows back, I could hear this guy clear as day saying, but we're right here. The door is open. Just let us in. And he's arguing with the captain. The captain was like, no, get back up there now. Because that is like the biggest no-no. You do not go down the jet bridge without a gate agent's okay. That's a major security breach. So he sent them back up, and then he told the gate agent, do not let them on my plane. And so they spent Christmas Eve probably at O'Hare because we were the last flight to that town that night. But that's something you should know. Never, ever, ever go down the jet bridge without the gate agent saying it's okay. And usually they scan your ticket to do that. So that was probably the craziest thing and like the most outrageous thing that probably had to do with security. Now, as far as the other thing, I thought about this for a moment. Like, what's the best story that I can tell out of 8.5 years of flying? What's the craziest thing that ever happened to me? And then all of a sudden I remembered. So passengers don't give me a hard time, like ever. If they ever come on and they chew me out when they're getting on the plane, they always apologize to me by the time they get off the plane. And that's usually because I liquor them up. And I usually understand that that's because they've already had a hard day of travel by the time they get to me. And I always like to be the funniest person on the plane. So, there's not too many who are funnier than moi on the plane. I'm the funniest person I know. But then again, I only know like 5 people because I gotta keep the competition low. I'm just saying, I'm just saying. But anyway, there was this one passenger once who literally flipped me off to my face. And you know what I did? I bought her some vodka because it was freaking hysterical. Like, she caught me off guard with that. Basically, what had happened was I was on the 145. I was the only flight attendant, and I had a very particular sequence of going through things. One of those things that we would do is as soon as we would close the door, we would make the announcement. We would walk through and check that everybody was buckled. And then once they were buckled, we would call the captain and say, all the seatbelts are buckled. We're ready to go ahead and roll. And so I'm going down the cabin at this point where I'm like, buckle up. And I get to this woman and she's in the A seat and there's two younger women in the BC seat. So just 3 seats in the whole row. And she's an older woman, a bit older than me. These two over here were probably in their 20s and, probably had that thigh gap. You hate those kind. We all hate those kind. If you have that, I hate you. No, I don't hate you. But anyway, I get to her and I go, your seatbelt's not buckled. Come on. I already made the announcement. Buckle your seatbelt. Like, I'm joking around. And I go, look at these two. They're already buckled in. She's trying to pull her seatbelt out from underneath her because she basically sat on it. And she's like, yeah, they're different though. They're skinny. I'm fat. I'm like, you're not that fat. Come on. And like, she ends up buckling it. I'm like, all right. And I like continue on, get to the back, make the phone call. I come back up. And the next thing that I'm supposed to do is I'm now supposed to start the safety demo. So the very first step that we do with the safety demo is we pull out the seatbelt extenders. I pull out the seatbelt extender and I'm literally like doing the part where they go, buckle your seatbelt, and we have to display it. So I click it and I look straight at her like this. And all of a sudden from behind her seat, I just see her do this. And I just burst out laughing. It was the funniest thing. Like, the timing was perfect. And you could tell she was so pleased with herself. And so when I got to her, I was like, that was absolutely hysterical. I'm buying you a drink. What do you want? And then she told me vodka. And we joked around during the flight. And on the way out, she even gave me a kiss on the cheek. So that was probably one of the funniest passengers I ever had. I've had a lot of passengers that have hugged me, some that have tried to kiss me. She was probably one of my favorites. I hope if she ever does actually get on this channel that she lets me know that she saw this story or something and be like, hey, that was me. But I've often thought about her and just cracked up every time that I did. So those are the craziest, funniest, and most TSA involved stories that I've had thus far. This one is from Georgia Bell. And it's, can you book a seat for your pet if they're too big to go under the seat in front of you? As far as I know, it's allowed for celebrity pets. If you were to say that your pet was special in some way or some kind of celebrity, you have a better chance of doing that. So I would say you could definitely try. We've been told before that there might be a celebrity pet on the plane, and if so, they are actually able to buy a ticket for that pet. So if you kind of use that expression celebrity pet when you book your ticket, like call to book your ticket, then you have a much better chance of getting that. Otherwise, you're going to want to try to book the Bulkhead, which is usually the row right after first class. It's going to cost you extra to have that seat, but it usually has a lot more legroom. And so it's usually a lot more comfortable for the dog. So anyway, I hope that answers your question. Call customer service, ask them about a celebrity seat for your pet, or try to go for the Bulkhead. It's just a little bit more than if you bought a separate seat completely. And then if you get it as a service animal, you can often hold the pet in your own lap while you're flying. Also, I don't know if you're interested in this. There is one other option, and you might not like this. You can buy 2 seats for yourself. It's usually recommended for people that have very, very large rear ends. Like, I don't know if you guys know who Fluffy is, Gabriel Iglesias. He talked about it in one of my favorite jokes of his, the Netflix special, which I'll put a link to up here. That whole joke started with the fact that he was going on Southwest and they wanted him to buy 2 tickets because he was a bigger guy. He was very offended and said no and decided to drive to his next gig instead. So you can buy 2 tickets for yourself. You can do that, and then, like, if you happen to let the dog sit in the seat with you, that's up to you. You just gotta let the flight attendant know, "I bought 2 seats." So then that way, if they're doing a count, they understand that you count for 2 people. That's what I would say for if you want to book a seat for your pet. Several people have actually asked me about the cooling sheet that I travel with, and it's enough people that like didn't screenshot their questions. But basically, they want to know, where can I get that? I get it on Amazon. Here is the link for that if you're interested. As you can see from the picture, this item is frequently returned. So why am I suggesting a cooling sheet that is frequently returned? The fact of the matter is I think most people don't understand what a cooling sheet is supposed to be. I know that the first time that I ordered the cooling sheet, I was super pissed because it warmed up like immediately. And I was like, how is this a cooling sheet? It's already warm. It's also super slick. And so if you use the bottom sheet and the top sheet, a lot of times you'll wake up and the top sheet will be on the floor. It's like those comedy skits you see where somebody has satin pajamas on and they jump into satin sheets and then they slide right off the other side of the bed. The material is similar to that. It's not exactly satin, but it's very slinky and it feels amazing against your skin. I bought it for the first time a year and a half ago. And I was hot flashing really bad during the summer. I was like, I need to do something. Let's try this cooling sheet. And I bought it expecting it to actually keep me cold, and it didn't. I had sent the cooling sheets back, thinking these don't work. These are ridiculous. But then I watched something else that made me look at them in a different way. And I don't remember exactly what it was, but I reordered it because I realized what it was that it's not supposed to actually make you cool or cold. It's supposed to wick away the excess heat, so that way your body temperature is more in the range of what it's supposed to be in. So it kind of brings your body temperature down to a point where you're not sweating a whole lot unless the room is really hot. For me, I don't use the bottom cooling sheet. I only use the top cooling sheet. I bought a bunch of cooling products to test out. I bought a cooling comforter, which I absolutely love. Here's the link for that. Basically, with this one, you want the cooling material on the top and the bottom. I'm always cold when I first fall asleep in the hotels because the sheets are so thin, so freaking thin. So I always steal the blankets from one bed to the other and I double up on the blankets. So I love when I get a hotel with 2 beds in it because then I don't have to go down to the lobby and ask for the scratchy wool blanket that they always have. Halfway through the night, my body switches over from repair zone to flush zone, and that's when your body gets warmer. So I'll wake up in the middle of the night covered in sweat. So I had ordered a twin size cooling blanket that had the cooling sheet on one side and then a blanket on the other. And I kept waking up with it not on me because it was so small. It kept ending up wrapped around my feet. So I was like, well, I can feel the material is working when it's on me, but I can't keep it on me because it feels like it's too small. I'm twisting around too much. So I decided when I ordered the sheets, I ordered a queen size sheet. It seems like you can't buy it by itself. You have to buy the whole sheet set. So I did buy the whole size sheet set, and then I actually have the rest of the queen size sheet on top of my wardrobe because I was like, I'm going to turn this into a body pillow case, or I'm going to use it for something else one day. But I only carry the top sheet in my bag. And the reason partially that I did that was because I realized when they're layered up, if you have something that's not the cooling sheet on top, it tends to be a little warmer because I also tried a comforter with a cooling sheet on one side and then like cotton on the other. And I didn't like that as much. But my comforter has a cooling sheet on both sides. So it doesn't matter which side I flip it to. And usually you want it against your skin. So I wash it regularly. Basically, I realized that if you have 2 cooling sheets on top of each other, it helps the extra heat go out better. So a single cooling sheet by itself underneath blankets helps to pull the heat away from your body, but still keeps it under the comforter. So then that way your body heat is still there with you and you're at a more comfortable temperature instead of like overheating from too many blankets. So I would say if you're going to get a cooling sheet, only use the top one because if not, you'll keep waking up and it'll be on the floor and you'll just be on the bottom sheet. I just use a regular microfiber cotton bottom sheet. For the hotels, I take the queen size cooling sheet. Another benefit of that is since my brother is autistic, I don't know about you, but I learned how heavier weight can basically calm the nervous system when you're trying to sleep. For a lot of people with autism, sometimes those weighted blankets really help. In my family, we were curious about it. So both my oldest and I got a weighted blanket to try, and I immediately hated it. I would not recommend a weighted blanket at all. But the cooling sheet is a bit heavier. So the nice thing about it is you do get that sensation without it being too heavy. Plus, you get the cooling wicking away the heat sensation, and then whatever layer you put on top of that helps keep the heat in. So now when I take that to the hotels, even if I only have one thin blanket on my bed with that cooling sheet, and then with my fuzzy pillowcase, which also kind of helps me keep some of the heat in during the colder period, I'm able to keep like the perfect body temperature. So yeah, that's what I recommend for the cooling stuff. Okay, guys, it's about that time for me to announce the winner of Travel Tuesday's giveaway. This week's winners are Jolly Rogers and Teach Free One. So, you guys, I saw what you asked for. I'm going to reply to your pinned comments from last week when this video comes out, telling you how to contact me, and then I'm going to delete the comments. So, you have to make sure your YouTube comments are on so that it will go to your email. The winner of this week's Gimme Pass is Terrence Reisinger's partner. Every time Terrence Reisinger's partner responds, she says she is a female using her partner's account. So I see you, I see your comments, and you have a Gimme Pass. So for the next 6 months, if you see a prize you like, you just let me know and I will send it to you. The other thing that I want to do today is I wanted to do an honorable mention prize. There were a couple of pizza options that sounded so interesting that I was like, they need honorable mentions. So I want you guys to tell me in the pinned comment below who you think should win the prize for most interesting pizza, and then they will also win the prize. The 4 people that I'm putting up today said, I had a pizza that was made like a Big Mac. It had a Big Mac-like sauce, cheddar cheese, onions, ground beef, diced dill pickles, sesame seeds on the crust, and topped with some shredded lettuce after it was baked. It sounds weird, but it was really good. So that's option number 1. Number 2 is Tara790. Tara said feta cheese, figs, tomatoes, and balsamic vinegar. I couldn't stop eating it. That sounds fascinating. Next, we have Cat J Blue. It had some type of white sauce instead of pizza sauce, tiny shrimp, and cashews. I only had it once though, then I moved. Aside from that, I like cheese and pepperoni and cheese. And then finally, Min Lu, mashed potatoes. It's called pagash, I don't know how you say that, or is sometimes referred to as pierogi pizza. My grandmother turned me onto it many years ago. She passed away last year at the age of 98. Last month, I visited a small town in Pennsylvania where she lived most of her life, and I knew I had to get a pagash in her memory. It was delicious. It filled my belly and my heart. So that's Min Lu. So you guys tell me, number 1, 2, 3, or 4, whose pizza would you try? Whoever gets the most comments, they will win the gift card or the cash that they asked for. And now, for the final segment, America Was Already Great. Okay, guys, it's time for the America Was Already Great segment of my Q&As. Just so you guys know, for the next 6 weeks, I am off. I won't be flying until April again. I won't be able to start the interview series part until April. But in the meantime, what I'm doing is I'm going to try to share videos with you that I think are awesome. And I think kind of show how great America really is. And so I've been thinking all week, like, which ones do I do? There's so many. And I've decided that one of the things that makes America great is Jimmy Kimmel. Wait, don't run, hear me out. I know you're thinking this is going to get political. It's not political. It's not, what I'm about to tell you is not at all about, what happened last year where the president tried to get him fired and he was fired for 3 days, and how American citizens came together and basically canceled their Disney Plus subscriptions in such a large number, and Disney lost so much money that they told Jimmy Kimmel to come back, and literally he was only fired for 3 days. I mean, that alone does, I think, make America great, that we came up with such a creative way to protect our First Amendment speech rights. That was cool, but that's not what I want to talk to you about today. What I actually want to talk about was the Jimmy Kimmel Matt Damon feud. Have you heard about the Jimmy Kimmel Matt Damon feud? One of the things that I think is absolutely great about this country is that we have these ongoing feuds, some that are funny with a great sense of humor, some that are crazy, like the Hatfields and the McCoys, which was considered probably one of the craziest feuds of all time, but like ongoing jokes. We have this I think, distinct sense of humor, kind of. And while I've never actually been like this great Jimmy Kimmel fan, and I've really only started watching him because Trump tried to get him fired, and now I feel like the leash is off and he's going to say all the things that he shouldn't be saying. And I'm curious what that is. What I think is great is that 23 years ago, when he started his show, he was not doing great. And then apparently one night came where the show he felt was not that great either. So just on a lark, he just basically blurted out, "My apologies, Matt Damon. We didn't have time for you tonight. We'll try to get to you next time." All of the people he had were like smaller acts, and Matt Damon was an A-lister. And he said he had no idea why he said the name. That maybe Matt Damon had just come out with a movie at the time, but he just happened to say it. And his producers thought it was hysterical, and they told him to do it again and again. So he started saying it every night. And eventually, word got back to Matt Damon's people. And so they said, "What do you think about this?" I believe they ended up reaching out to Jimmy Kimmel, and they decided to have some fun with this. So for the last 23 years, they have acted like they hate each other in all of these different pranks and skits and everything throughout the years. And it has been one of the most hysterical things, I think, to watch. Not only have A-listers, B-listers, C-listers gotten involved with some of the pranks, musicians have gotten involved with some of the pranks. They've pretended to do counseling. Sarah Silverman, which was Jimmy Kimmel's ex-girlfriend, actually won an Emmy for a song she wrote. And it is just hysterical. So I was watching this week a video, and it was like 20 minutes long. I don't know if you want to watch a 20-minute long video, but it's kind of like snippets of all these different pranks they've done over the past 23 years between Jimmy Kimmel and Matt Damon, going back and forth. And even Ben Affleck has been dragged into it. Harrison Ford's been involved, Robin Williams, Jennifer Garner, and just a ton of major celebrities have been into it. It's ended up on stage at the Oscars. You might have seen something in the last 23 years, and maybe you didn't know what it was. The one that I wanted to show you was the last one that I know they did that is so funny. And this is a clip from his show about a week after he was fired and came back. And you don't have to watch the whole thing. If you just jump to the 8-minute mark, that's when the joke continues. It's just so funny. But if you want to see more about it, I'm going to link both at the end. The top one will be the last prank that they did, and the bottom one is going to be the 20-minute long one. It's honestly one of the things I think makes America great is that we have such long-running jokes, even among our celebrities, and how they try to get other people involved so it's fun for more than just themselves. I think Americans' sense of humor a lot of times can make us great. We're all different. We all have different types of sense of humors. I'm not really into slapstick humor like Jim Carrey. I really enjoyed him in The Grinch, but like I'm not an Ace Ventura type of fan. That's a different type of humor in my opinion. So anyway, I hope you watch those. If not, I will try to make sure to have a video out for you guys this Tuesday. If you liked this video, let me know by hitting the like button. That really does help me promote the channel. Hit the subscribe button because the faster I hit 10,000, I think the more money I'll be able to start giving you guys, because then sponsors will start hitting me up and then I can just pass that on to you guys. I'm hoping some travel companies will hit me up and I can just send you guys the products. But hit the notification bell because anytime I do a contest, you only have 24 hours to enter your answer and win, which means between Tuesday to Wednesday is the only time that you have it. And sometimes I'm late because right now I'm working on the house. But yeah, like button, subscribe, notification, da 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 da. See you guys on Tuesday. Ciao.